Yeah, we gotta uh, talk about this one, don't we? After what I don't know the news cycle. If we're just making conversation. Was there anything to it necessarily with the talk about Michigan and Harbaugh is going to get in trouble again here? Uh, with the sign stealing allegations. Is that what Harbaugh is up to right now? Is that why Harbaugh denies any involvement and actually vows to investigate the situation? Harbaugh said he doesn't have any knowledge regarding any sign stealing, and nor has he directed any of his staff to do any sign stealing. What makes Michigan so good? Could it be out of this world talent, uh, great recruiting, great fan base, great stadium, and all that? Or has been Michigan been, pulling a little New England Patriots? Well, all I know is in this series, it's not about which team is a national title contender and, quite frankly, which team has had issues in football, in their athletic program. It's been just a disaster of events at Michigan State. Um, Even with the tragedy on campus and all that. Remember just over a year ago. So Michigan comes in with a 7-0 record, certainly here, a 3-3-1 record against the spread. For Michigan State, they're 2-4, but they've covered three times and have a push. And well, Michigan State, who covers? Who covers when these two teams meet? Michigan State covers not every time, but uh, massively of late. What is it? 12 of the last 15. And here, we're definitely dealing with an inflated spread as far as I can tell. Now, when we were on the circus show a little bit, well, it opened 25, so I guess it's not necessarily inflated, but there were look ahead lines in the summer that had this one under 20, and the look ahead line just a couple of weeks ago was under this number at, I think, 23. So I'm taking Michigan State. I'm not concerned. I mean, I'm throwing it all out the window. And now, if you've given me some type of distraction here on Michigan, I don't know. Maybe Michigan State planted the story a little. Maybe a little. You don't put anything past these two schools when it comes to something like this, especially when Michigan State's been. Well, let's face it, they've been a disaster. And Kim hasn't done anything at quarterback. 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, just 1,000 yards. McCarthy, is he someone that you guys have considered maybe getting on the Heisman Trophy watch? I mean, look, he only has 1,500 yards, but 78%, 14 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So I'm throwing everything out the window when it comes to this game, and I'm just taking Michigan State plus 24. Count on Michigan State to just find a way to play some defense here. I would think for sure that McCarthy's fun. Maybe he could win the Heisman. Maybe he can get to New York at least because of the great team and he's a good quarterback and all that. But I don't think, you know, 10.6 yards attempt is nice, but I don't think he's all that. And um, I'm going to take 24 points. This total has definitely gone down. When we were on the Circa preview show, it opened 49 and is all the way down here to 46. And I'm sure it'll be a lower score. I feel like it'll be a low scoring game. Ferner just said over. Uh oh. Okay, well, just wait, Ferner, because you might even get a chance at a lower number. Now, funny because uh, we didn't know Michigan State was going to be awful, or maybe we did, but the the line in the summer, they had side and total up, and it was 57.5. Imagine that. So I'm going to take Michigan State here. I'm just going to throw the stats. Um, Look, not throwing it out the window. Like I said, I'll take the fact that Michigan State has, 3-2-1 so far against the spread. I like teams that have a positive spread record when they have a losing winning, when they have a losing win loss record. Now, football, it's a little um, different with fewer games, but in a way, it's kind of magnified too. We know the games at Michigan State, they uh, got the money at Rutgers. They were an underdog in that game, and they also um, clobbered a couple of teams early and got the money. But in conference, they lost to Maryland at home here by 22 points to Maryland, and they gave up 26 points to Iowa. But when I don't have to tell you guys, especially my Michigan friends, about this one. All right, should have some fun here with Duke and Florida State. Oh, I get it. Sure, Florida State, uh, you know, having an incredible season, no doubt about it. This has been terrific and good to have the Seminoles back in, playing key critical games as they continue to ride towards a terrific season. They're taking on Duke here, and this one is a 14.5 point favorite. And the total here, 49.5. All right, we'll take a look at this one with Duke here going up against FSU. FSU, of course, undefeated. Just mentioned it. Great season they're having with their 6-0 record thus far. And Duke getting 2 touchdowns. They're 5-1. Now, granted, Duke has played just one home game so far this season, and you know what? When they play Florida State, it's usually not pretty. Now, this Duke team is doing pretty well. We know that. Both teams 4-2 against the number here. Thomas says, check that injury report, Ramon. I want to know what's going on because I think there's some injuries there that need to be announced. So, all right, I'll do it. When we previewed this game with that opening line show on Monday, it opened 15.5. It has been as high as 16.5 and as low as 13.5. Still showing Duke quarterback Riley Leonard is questionable with an ankle injury. And that is the key injury in the game. But there are some cluster injuries for Florida State at wide receiver. A little bit of depth there with a couple of receivers currently out, and also questionable, and a couple of defensive backs also questionable for the game for FSU. But for me, man, FSU they seem to own these guys, and 14.5 is a number at least I can work with here and get it below that number. Probably want to make sure I'm laying under 14.5, probably 13 here in this one. Um, Look, this one could end up being a game where, uh, you know, the score, it's a lower scoring game, is what it feels like to me. Now, I know as explosive as Florida State has been, Duke is a good team. They're coming in here, FSU goes over every time right now, and this total open 52.5 is now 49.5. Those are moves that I totally respect usually when I'm analyzing markets, right? Because FSU's gone over in 8 of their last 9 games at home, 7 of their last 9 games overall, and 6 of their last 8 games as a favorite. And, I have a feeling that they'll have a strong defensive effort against Duke, but I also trust Duke to, kind of hang in there, right? But still could end up being Florida State getting the money. So I'm going to play under as my play here. I'm going to see what this line does. I'm interested possibly in a premium in this game. I hope I didn't tip my hand too much. I want you guys to subscribe to my picks. But let me give out the under here in this one as a free play. I'm more, certainly have some concerns. Florida State, as explosive as they can be with Jordan Travis, and of course, we talk about getting banged up, and we saw Travis have to leave a game, but I don't know. Rodemaker came in there, and he's through for some touchdown passes. So Florida State's in good hands. Riley Leonard, if he's not in there, I don't know. They got a capable guy, I think, in Henry Bellin, and it might be tough for him on the road, but Thomas here likes Duke. All right. I'm worried because what is it? Did I say the series? It's 7-0-1 for Florida State in the last 8 meetings against the spread. Florida State 7-0-1 against the spread last 8 meetings against Duke. And that's with a Florida State team that has not been like this Florida State team. That has been a Florida State team that underachieved for years against a Duke team that, if anything, over these years, they're playing pretty well now, but they've always kind of been on the rise here a little bit over the last decade, like slowly, or having good teams pulling off upsets here and there. So give me the under in this one at 49.5, and that's what I'll play with my pick in this one, the under Duke and Florida State 49.5. All right. I just expect, I think 2 good teams means a little bit more defense. I think Duke, can be recognized a little bit for their defense, certainly, especially their rushing defense, which allows just 4 yards. Okay. This should be a good one, huh? Clemson taking on Florida State here. Clemson taking on Miami here on Saturday night. Both teams come in with a 4-2 record in this one. Clemson opened as high as 3.5. I've seen it get as low as -2 with a little bit of juice, and the total here now down to 48.5. When we were on that circa preview show, it opened 49.5 and went all the way up to 42 to 52.5, but has since come all the way back down here to 48.5. Boy, and I wish, we wish. Here is Clemson for Thomas. He's already ready to go. Clemson, we're making fun of them a lot, right? And they're declining. They're not all that anymore. What's wrong with Clemson? They've covered 8 of their last 11 on the road. That's when you're covering road games. I don't know. That's kind of what you look to do, right? Now they've also covered, 4 straight against the Hurricanes. That's notable as well. So I'm gonna I like the way I don't like the way the line is moving against me, but I like the market move itself to the under, because that's where I'm gonna go with this game, is on the under. Look, you got Clemson. Do they have offensive issues sometimes? Yeah, sure. With Klubnik in there, I guess, probably. He's only passed for 1,370 yards this season. Van Dyke, we know he's been awesome, and I think his status is good, right? He wore that injury tag, but I don't think it's a factor now. He's upgraded to probable. I mean, he's been 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. But Clemson, they play well against Miami. They do well on the road. They're favored in the game. The odds makers obviously aren't threatened by Miami here in this one, and maybe because look, Miami's only covered 10 of their last. Oh, you guys, Miami's only covered 2 of their last 10 home games and have covered just 2 of their last 9 games against teams with winning records. Miami is 4-13 against the spread overall in their last 17 games. Clemson has gone under 7 of their last 10 on the road, 6 of their last 8 overall. So I'm going to take the under here in this one as my play, and we'll see on the side. But I don't know. For me, the trends indicate Clemson. No matter how much we're making fun of Clemson being, you know, Dunsky, and there is some credence to a lot of Clemson spread success was racked up here recently, and now all of a sudden the decline has been sharp this year. But I'm not sure that that's necessarily the case. And Thomas talks about Miami being reckless. We don't have to point out the coaching deficiencies there, in that one game as well. That was just a huge mistake that leaves egg on your face, and you can't shake it for years probably. So Miami's covered just one of their last 3 games. It was that 41-7 win at Temple. Of course, they lost to Carolina last week, 41-31, and remember the upset loss to Georgia Tech at home with that crazy play. So give me the under here, Clemson and Miami. Utah is going to be at USC here on Saturday night. And in this one, you got a USC team now up to a 7-point favorite. The line isn't really moving, I don't think, on Cam Rising's status. I mean, to me, it feels like, he's never going to play. I don't know why we're, in this situation dealing with this every week like this, and why the line goes up thinking he's going to play and all that. But I'm sure I could read more into the situation, and like I said, I already said I thought the guy was getting bad advice and that they're trying to hold him out just to, keep his draft status the way it is. And, because he is an NFL caliber quarterback. But it really hasn't hurt Utah at, this season, right? Has it? So, they've gotten by with their 2 quarterbacks. They've got a running quarterback. They've got a passing quarterback, really, to a certain extent. And Utah on the road, they won at Baylor 20-13, and they lost at Oregon State 21-7. Now, the offense has been affected without Rising. There's no doubt about it. But we know that Utah has a very strong defense, no doubt. But Utah has been held under 275 yards in 3 of their 5 games against Division 1A competition. Now, for USC, they're averaging 50, 51, 52 points per game. Right now, they've been favored by 20 or more points in their first 6 games. But here they are favored by just 7 against a tough rival like Utah, who's won the last 3 games in this series, and they've always racked up big points against USC. Utah has scored 43, 47, and 42 points in the last 3 matchups against USC, and we've already seen USC have there's some type of issues defensively. They don't look to be national title worthy. It looks like to me because they're you know we saw it in some games already, and don't forget these two teams did play in that championship game last year, and remember how it got away from them, and Utah ended up winning the game 47-24. So this series is a solid over, but this total, which opened 55 and a half and went as high as 57 and a half, is now down to 53. And it's scary because I want to try the under here, but like I said, over 7-1-1 in this series in the last 9 games. And like I said, I mean, we know that Williams is I don't know, he's starting to look kind of quirky in a way or whatever, but you can't argue with these numbers right now, and he's still the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. No reason why he shouldn't. You could throw out the other candidates, and yes, no one wins back to back. Maybe they'll try to find, but remember, these are voters now that get it done, that do this. And is anybody really rising to the top of the Heisman chase that could possibly beat to that could possibly uh, beat Williams? Will voters really, if he continues in this fashion? So, all right. Uh, so far under Lincoln Riley, USC has not been a terrific favorite, just 6-8 against the spread with Riley. And I mentioned all that USC offensive success. They still have given up a ton of points in those games. They've given up 41, 41 and 48 points. So they might be, all their games, we could figure games are averaging 90 points sometimes with these guys. But uh, this is a pretty serious move to the under in this game. Who in their right mind would do this, right? Only guys who are uh, the bookmakers. Are they giving away free money here, or is this actually going to be, a low scoring dominant game here, possibly by USC? Can Utah stay in this game at all and put up enough points to uh, get it over the total? Because I'm telling you, the handicappers I've seen are all over USC. They're not, into it at all. Uh, Here's the problem: Utah on the as a 2-9 their last 11 games as a road underdog, 2-9 against the spread as a road underdog. Are they killer in the Pac-12 as against the spread? Yeah, but 2-9 against the spread in the last 11 games as a road underdog. So, all right. Well, look, I'll just roll with it here and just. I guess USC is going to roll these guys and cover. I don't know. Utah's 5-1 here in this, coming in. They've obviously been able to have some success in these games with a record like that. So I'll take the under. I trust this move. And even though everything would point to, you know, the one thing is that Utah doesn't, I don't expect Rising to be in. If it does, the total's going to go way back up. The total would not be 53 if there was any indication. He is listed as questionable here for yet another week, but every time when we get to it, he's never playing. So you'll have, uh, you know, Johnson, you'll have Barnes again, and you have that defense. That's what Utah is going to rely on here. And I'm sure they'll be able to, Whittingham, right? You're not going to not trust this guy, are you? USC, yeah, they don't get numbers. They're 6-1, you guys, no doubt. They're a great team. They're nearly national championship caliber. Nearly. They're 2-5 against the spread. 6-1 straight up to now. Like I said, they've been laying 20 points, but they're playing Utah, who's got all that defense. Over, this series goes over. USC's been going over. I'm gonna think that Utah needs all the defense in the world to stay in this game, and they're a team that can do it. USC undisciplined. All right, one more I just want to talk about because it's a good game here with Georgia State going up against UL Lafayette. This is two good teams in this one, no doubt about it. And look at that total, and that's why I got to give it out here as a free play because I think this one is going to be wild. And I can only give it out as a free play at this point because the total's gone all the way up to 63. And it was when we were on the opening line show. I don't know if you guys saw my reaction, but here's the thing: it opened 52.5, and it went all the way up to 58 in no time flat. And now it's up to 63, and I still think it might go over. I'm going to give it out as a free play because that's a good, at least a good 5 points of what I would have considered for excitable premium here. But you got two teams that don't have very much defense, I guess we could just say. I mean, UL Lafayette has been a crushing under team. They've been one of the most solid under teams around, especially at home. But it doesn't feel like that's going to necessarily be the case in this one. Georgia State, they're really strong on the road. They've covered 15 of their last 18 games on the road. This line opened 1.5 for Louisiana and is now 3.5. So I should put Louisiana up there instead of UL Lafayette and try to be like I'll try to be like those guys. Call them what they want to be called. And for Louisiana here, like they've gone under in 21 of their last 26 home games, but this move to me is a big indicator of the way this game is going to go. There isn't necessarily a lot of stats that might indicate this game to go over, but I think it's more the defenses here a little bit. Look, Georgia State has an interesting defense, no doubt, but it's I think on Lafayette necessarily to kind of slow Granger down. He's got 1,421 yards, just 8 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. But when you look at some of the scores of Louisiana of late, they beat Texas State 34-30 in a similarly lined game last week at home when they were favored by 1, and the total was 66.5. It actually didn't go over. But at home against Buffalo, they won 45-38. They didn't cover that one. They scored 41 at UAB, another team that gives up a lot of points. So I'm just going to have the over in this one. But the reason why I'm kind of focusing on this game a little bit, you have a Georgia State team that, comes in here with a 5-1 record right now. And, in good position. And Louisiana's at 4-2 coming in. But 2-4 against the spread, it should be noted. So I'm going to take the over in this one. And got to do it as a free play. Line's gone up pretty high, but I expect a high-scoring game with Georgia State and Louisiana. And as far as the side's concerned, pretty interesting move there on Louisiana. They, like I said, opened 1. They're now up to 3.5. That might be getting a little bit uncomfortable there now, but especially with a team that doesn't do that well covering the spread. All right.